Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kristen, aka Curly Kristenite, and today's video is how to teach English abroad. A couple of months ago I started the process of applying to teach English in South Korea. If you also are applying or want to apply to teach English in any other country, maybe in Asia or in South America or in Africa, this video can also help you, because I'm going to give a general overview of how to teach English abroad. But more specifically, remember, this is going to be from my personal experience, and I don't necessarily have knowledge of all English programs out there, but I'll tell you what I do know. So firstly, you are going to want to use an agency. So there are a few of these agencies out there, and the reason why you want to use an agency is because you don't want to just go with a contact, a company that hasn't been operating for a long time, or just somebody that's going to help you get over that side, because there are a lot of scams out there. The reality is that there are scams out there. There are people who will pretend to be an agency and just take your money, or even worse than that, some human trafficking type of things like that. I mean, that's really rare, but it does happen, and you know, that is a risk, and that's what a lot of people think when you tell them and speak about these programs. A lot of people speak about these scams firstly, and like human trafficking ploys, and that's like always that's the typical like drama soap opera plot, you know, like what just happened in Seven de Laan, where they went to teach in Taiwan and they were kidnapped and whatever. So this video is not exactly how not to get kidnapped, but if you want to make sure that you're doing this in the safest and smartest way possible, you want to go through a reputable agency. So you want to research whatever link you go through. So you're obviously going to go do a Google search for Teach English Abroad agency, and luckily Google does do an authenticity check on the, you know, the Google algorithm does give you sort of authority. So if it's the first or second link, then it's probably a legitimate company. But don't just go on that. Check the references, check that the website looks like a legit company, that they have some certifications. Check if there are people who've done it. Try to go with a company that you know of, somebody who's done the same or used the same company. Try to look for reviews. Search the company's name with scam next to it to check if it's a scam, because there are websites that highlight scams that exist. So do that type of research, and just make sure there's a Facebook page, if there's social media, if the company has videos of taking people overseas and their cultural orientation or something like that, you know. And then you want to make sure that you also speak to the people. When you do the application, you speak to someone on the phone, you have some kind of phone call, and it's not just email or text based. So those are some of the ways to make sure you don't go or get caught up in any illegal things. So yeah, so then when you do decide on the agency that you want to go with, there are a few types of agencies out there. So there are agencies that are not going to charge you for their services, and they're just going to help you with the process. And the schools, some of the programs, the schools actually pay these agencies, so they get their cut there. And there are these companies that exist, but the thing is, they have, because it's free, obviously they have a lot of clients, and they come on a first come first serve basis. And also you need to have the companies that I researched, when it was free, then they usually would prioritize people that have more experience or that type of thing. So it's more difficult to actually get placed with these agencies, because they're not actually charging you to do something. Now there are other companies that will charge you a deposit. So I mean, this is a long process that you're going to be starting, and I think it's just for these companies to get like their money's worth, so that if you do pull out throughout the program, then they do have some remuneration for their work, like they do get some payment for the work that they do or have done. It's just a security for them. But also there are companies that use that as a scam as well. So be very careful when a company is asking for a deposit. Make sure that it's a legitimate company. And I'm going to leave some links for you guys below of agencies that I do know that are legitimate and that you can use, but also do your own research. Don't just go on my word, okay? So now let's talk about what you need to teach English abroad. So what you need to do is you need to have a degree. You can teach overseas without a degree, but it's more difficult. So if you are studying, or you have a bachelor's degree from a well-known university, then you can qualify to teach abroad and to teach English. And you don't even have to teach, you don't even have to study like a BA or education. You don't need to have any subjects relating to education. I studied information systems and I applied. Like, you don't need to have a degree that relates to education or English or teaching or anything like that. But if you do have a BA or you have a teaching degree, then that also puts you in better stead for getting employed, right? So it's not a requirement, but it does put you above other like applicants. What will put you on the same level as someone with a teaching degree, if you don't have a teaching degree, is a TEFL certificate or a CELTA certificate. Now there are many different certifications and there's different technicalities with these certifications, but the certificate that I have is a TEFL certificate, and it's a 150-hour TEFL certificate. Now depending on the particular program that you try to apply for, like different countries have different requirements, but I think you're going to be safe with like a 120-hour TEFL certificate. Most countries are okay with that, but do research for the specific country that you want to go to. And I did mine online, and so I'll give you a link to the company that I did my TEFL certificate with. There are also positions without that. It's just very rare. So this is what the advice I'm giving you now is how to get the best chances of getting a job. Is if you have a teaching diploma with a TEFL certificate as well, then and teaching experience, then you have the best possible resume basically. But you can also do it with just a degree from any other discipline with a TEFL certificate. That has now become a requirement really for you to have a TEFL certificate. It's very important because before it wasn't necessary and people taught with just a bachelor's degree, but now that it's becoming more popular, there's more demand, there's more competition, so the stakes are higher and you need to be more qualified. So you need that TEFL certificate. You can do it online. If you feel that you want to do it in class, that will also make your resume better. So a in-class certification where you actually taught in class and learned in class instead of online learning will look better on your CV then, or resume, than an online. But I had an online one and I got a job teaching English, so it is possible. It's definitely possible. But I mean, if you want to be better prepared, if you're worried and you have no experience teaching, you can do the in-class one, because you actually practice teaching a class, as far as I know. But you don't really need it. Like, then let's talk about the cost. So I already spoke about, so you're gonna save like a lot of money if you go to a company that like doesn't charge you a deposit. But I started my application, the first agency that I applied to, they didn't have a deposit, right? I waited long for them to really respond to me. Like the first company, I sent my application to a few agencies, and because I didn't have my TEFL certificate at that point, and they took a while to get back to me, you know, and I didn't get a lot of agencies that got back to me. So I just decided, you know, I'm gonna go with a company where you pay a deposit, but then you are guaranteed that they will get you a job, you know. So then I decided to go with the company TravelBud, and I'll put their link for you in the description box. So the deposit is like 5,400 rand. It's in dollars, and they convert it according to the exchange rate of that day. And then you first pay your deposit to secure your place in the program, right? Then the other costs, then there's also a program fee that they charge, and that is like 10,000. That ends up being like 10,000 rand. And then you also have to pay for your flights. So that flight is somewhere like 8,000 rand or so. And these are prices, estimate prices. And then so you need 8,000 for your flight, but that can always be reimbursed by the company that employs you. So some of the time you will get like reimbursed for your flights. It really depends on the company. But with this program, the South Korea, teaching English in South Korea with TravelBud, it was the flight gets reimbursed, right? And then you also need about 10,000 rand to cover yourself for your first month. And that's like kind of the standard that you with teaching programs. You will need a bit of money and spending money for your first month, and you will need to pay for your ticket, but most of the time you get reimbursed. And also, depending on if you have a program fee or not, you will have that cost as well. So if you add all of that up, it's, I would say roughly you need about 30 to 40,000 rand if you want, for everything. If you want to do this, you can get by with like 20,000 at the minimum. Alright, so if you don't have a program fee and no deposits and that type of thing, then you just need your flight money and your 10,000 rand for when you're there. And obviously, if you're the type of person that can live on less and you can make your money stretch, you can even go with less money. But 10 grand, you'll be safe and comfortable, and you won't be starving eating 2-minute noodles all the time. Now let's talk about documents, and this is the kind of the hardest part about it. There's various different types of documents that you need to have. So this is like specific for South Korea. I know about South Korea what you need, so I'm going to speak about that. So you need to need your bachelor's degree to be authenticated by the Department of Education, and that needs to be sent to Pretoria, or in your country, whatever your country is. This is for South Africa. You need to send it to your capital city to get authenticated by the Department of Education. Basically, the government has to stamp your degree to say that it's authentic, and you can't just go to like the police station and get a certified copy. It has to be a apostille and notarized by this department, right? Your agency will explain all of this to you. Like I didn't need to really research any of this. The agency helps you with all of that. So basically all you need to know really is that you need to get your degree authenticated, and then you also need a police clearance or a background check. You need that also authenticated. And then your other documents will be like a copy of your passport. You will need a valid passport, and that's valid for 6 months from your departure date. And you will need as well, what other documents? Passport photos. Sometimes there's a really lengthy application. So for South Korea there was a very lengthy application form, and this is specifically for EPIK. So I applied for EPIK, right? And with EPIK there is a very specific application form, and it needs to be filled in very accurately and very to the T. There's like a guideline given with the application to fill it in, and it also contains a lesson plan and a few essays that you have to, like short essays, like why do you want to come to South Korea, why do you want to teach, what's your teaching philosophy, things like that will be in the application. So depending on where you go, you might have to have that as well, an application form. And then you also need 3 copies of your transcripts, and this needs to be sealed and stamped by your university. So you can apply for that, but at your university you need 3 copies of your transcripts. And then you will also have costs involved with authenticating it. So if you don't live in the capital city where the Department of Education head offices is, like me, like I live in Cape Town, so I needed to send my documents to Pretoria, and that cost me money, and then have it brought back to me. And then once my application was complete, I needed to send that to South Korea, right? So that also cost me money, and those costs come to about like 1,500 for document things, basically. Oh yes, letter of recommendation. So you might need, with EPIK you need 2 letters of recommendation from your previous employers, and they need to also be done in a very specific way, and there's all requirements given, and your agency will give you that as well. So it's a very rigorous process, especially for EPIK in Korea. So EPIK is English program in Korea, and it's a program provided by the government of Korea. I can give you guys some tips on how to pass your interview, because I did go through the interview and pass. So you will have if you apply for EPIK, then you will have an interview with EPIK, and you will also have a mock interview with your agency. That's what I had. And yeah, depending on which agency you go with, you can have a Skype interview with them first, and then with the employer you'll have another interview as well. So once you've done your documents, then you will get an employment contract. Yeah, once all of your documents are authenticated and you've sent it over, then you will get a contract, and then you sign that contract, and that's when you pay your program fee, the balance of your program fee, and then your visa application will start. So because then once you have the job, you have a work permit and you can get a work visa, and that's when you get your work visa, and then they will organize your accommodation and your flights and all of those things. And I'm gonna speak more about EPIK and the EPIK program, EPIK interviews, the whole process that I've gone through with TravelBud. And actually I'm gonna do a video as well why I'm not going to South Korea anymore, so bear with me. I actually did this whole process, and I decided not to accept the offer, and I'll tell you guys all about that in my next video. Okay, so but that's all you need to know. Like that's really the basics of what you need to know if you want to teach English abroad, and especially South Korea, because that's the application that I did. I don't know much about after as far I've gone as far as the documents, so I don't really know much about the process after that, but I'll obviously keep you guys informed as I go through it and what's happening, keep you guys updated. So do hit the subscribe button if you want that information, hit the notification bell so you can get notified. I also do videos, hair tutorials, I also do videos on my ethnicity and Cape Colored culture and food, and just things about Cape Town as well that I want to do more of. So yeah, if you're interested in that content, do click the subscribe and notification bell down below. If you want to add something, let me know something, ask a question, put it in the comment section, and I'll be sure to respond to you. So that's it for this video. I will see you in my next video. Bye.